Two-Tone Miles here. Really excited to be talking about this particular release. We're talking String Theory by The Selecter. Now, on my own list of personal favorite ska bands, Selecter ranks very highly, way up near the top. They have a really unique sound, and I think Pauline Black's voice is just so incredibly versatile. Just a truly amazing vocalist. It bears mentioning that about the same time this review will go up, The Selecter will be playing the Coachella Music Festival and kicking off a US tour. Some of the tour dates include appearances by the legendary Lee Scratch Perry. So US Selecter fans at those shows are in for a real treat. Now sadly for me, these tour dates aren't exactly in my neck of the woods, so I will not be in attendance. Thankfully, String Theory is there to soften the blow of not being able to see some of my ska idols play a live show. So let's talk String Theory. And don't worry, we're not going to need higher mathematics to discuss this one. String Theory is available on iTunes and was released in February 2013 on Vocaphone Records. This album is coming shortly after the 2011 release Made in Britain, an album I personally enjoyed greatly. That's 2 albums in about 2 years' time. They're putting in the time, both in the studio and on the road, and the output is nothing short of impressive. So how does String Theory stack up? In short, it's very good. I've personally gone back and forth over whether I like Made in Britain or String Theory better as a contemporary Selecter album, and I've waffled on this point. So I'd consider String Theory the equal of Made in Britain, and String Theory is definitely worth a purchase in my book. String Theory strikes me as a bit of a darker album. While the content of Made in Britain isn't exactly sunny and bright, some of the later tracks on String Theory have a real dark edge to them that's immediately evocative of Celebrate the Bullet. Around the time you're getting to High Hair and London Burning, it feels like the momentum of the album shifts when compared with some of the more bouncier tracks towards the beginning of the album, like the opening Avengers theme and Warrior. I think that's what makes this such an interesting sort of album, that sort of bait and switch. It starts out peppy and energetic, and about halfway through really shift gears, giving both halves of the album their own unique feel. And it's really how those two halves come together that makes String Theory just a really compelling album, start to finish. My own personal favorite track is Flat World. The opening C'est la vie repeat just immediately hooks you in. The references to Superman and parallel universes I can appreciate for their subtle metaphorical meaning, as well as taking a certain literal enjoyment from them. I like comic books, I like science fiction. I make no excuses for that fact. So this is definitely one of my favorite tracks. High Hair, that's another track that I'm really enjoying, and that's a song that only seems to get more intricate with repeated listens. A lot of meaning to unpack in that track, and just really enjoying that track. Something else I really enjoy is the banter on the back end of 667, Neighbor of the Beast, where they explain how the album was named. They did the same sort of thing at the end of Second Skin on Made in Britain, and there's something undeniably charming about closing the album that way. The idea that we're all made of subatomic strings holding it all together as a reason for peace and equality in these troubled times, it's an ingeniously clever play on higher physics. In closing, I wholeheartedly recommend String Theory by The Selecter. People who are already fans of Selecter will find a lot to like on String Theory. I know I did. I think this album does a lot to encapsulate the iconic sound of one of the essential ska bands in a fresh modern package, and produce music that feels immediately timeless, and managed to be both traditional and new at the same time. So it's just a really unique, fresh sound from just a great band. I wish the Selector the best on their US tour. I hope it goes fantastically well. I hope they're back this way soon. Yeah, hoping for additional US tours in the future. And I'd really like the chance to see them play a live show, and I hope they keep making new tracks. If String Theory and Made in Britain are indicative of their current output, I frankly can't wait to hear more. I'm Two Tone Miles. I really enjoyed this release, and I hope you all enjoyed it too.
As you contemplate what's missing.